Hey, welcome to another episode of Heroes and Videos, where today we're going to be going over my top 10 favorite Fantastic Four storylines in my collection. Fantastic Four First Steps is out at the movies this weekend. Please go see it in theaters. I'm going to be seeing it tomorrow and then posting a review. So without further ado, let's get into my top 10. We've got a few honorable mentions here. First up, over the years, Marvel has always often done Thing versus Hulk stories, back to Fantastic Four number 12, Fantastic Four 25. Over the years, they were often trying to, they needed to put a different spin on it, have something be new and unique for the storyline, right? So it's not just the same old thing. Giant Size Superstars 1, they did a Freaky Friday thing where the Hulk and the Thing changed minds. The hook for this issue, which is one of the first of my honorable mentions, this storyline, Fantastic Four 166 and 167, is where the Thing actually joins up with the Hulk. He figures, wait, everybody's just picking on the Hulk. He just wants to be left alone. So the Thing actually joins him against his team, the other three members of the quartet. You see here on this Kirby cover, they're fighting on the top of the arch in St. Louis. But just a really great story. That concept. I remember being a little spooked by the end of that issue 166. The concluding panel there, the cliffhanger, is that the Thing has joined the Hulk at that point. So that's the two of them teamed up. That's a pretty scary concept. Next up in honorable mentions is the end of a Counter-Earth storyline. Around that same time period, Fantastic Four 175, where Galactus is trying to eat Counter-Earth. The High Evolutionary has grown there and is looking to stop him. Another great Kirby cover. Wasn't a huge Kirby fan back in the 70s. I've come to appreciate him more now. The Counter-Earth, for those of you that may not be aware, at the time was an Earth very much like our own that the High Evolutionary had created. And it happened to be exactly on the opposite side of the sun, so we didn't know it was there, because I guess, 60s and 70s science. The Counter-Earth's going to be coming up later in the broadcast here, but the idea was it was another planet just like Earth. He'd grown it. There are a number of differences. We'll talk about that a little later in the video as we get closer to number one. But that Galactus, and again, we're talking about different takes on the Hulk Thing battle. You have to do different takes on Galactus too. It can't always be the same thing, at least in the comics. Galactus can't be coming to Earth for the 30th time. So in that case, he was coming to eat Counter-Earth, and as you probably guessed, our heroes were able to stop him. The last of my honorable mentions is Fantastic Four 157. It's the conclusion of a storyline that was pretty much a remake of where Dr. Doom steals the Silver Surfer's powers from the late issues 50s, I think 58, 59, 60, somewhere in there. I didn't know that at the time as a kid picking this up off the stands. It was the first time I had ever seen Dr. Doom try to steal the Silver Surfer's power, and I just loved it, and I still the storyline's got a great place in my heart just because of that. So prior to getting into my top 10 now, I do want to take a moment. Fantastic Four is coming out this weekend. If you guys haven't checked it out already, you should check out Comic Tropes, which is just a fantastic channel. And they just did a video about how Marvel stopped putting out Fantastic Four, like canceled the book back in 2015 because of what was going on in the movies. The fact that Fox was trying to, was making Fantastic Four films or film, I should say. And so Marvel stopped promoting their stuff. I couldn't help but notice one of these old shirts that I have with Marvel. The Inhumans are on there because Marvel was pushing them over the X-Men at that point, but there's no Fantastic Four on it. So it's kind of weird when I see some of these, some of the merch that was coming out at that point. There's no Fantastic Four on it. So get over to Comic Tropes, check out that video. It's awesome. They always are on that channel. But I just thought that was weird as I looked through some of the merch that was put out about 10 years ago or so. Now, let's get into it. Number 10. Number 10 is the issue right after that other High Evolutionary issue, 176. Fantastic Four returned from Counter-Earth to Earth. And the Impossible Man came with them. Another great Kirby cover. What I love about this book is that it takes place in Marvel Comics offices, in the Marvel bullpen. And that was a conceit at the time, that Marvel Comics really existed in the Marvel Universe, and the Fantastic Four would just tell them their adventures, and Marvel would put them out in comics in that universe. In this, there's an iconic panel in here of where they're going through the Marvel offices, and there's the editor-in-chief door, the door to the editor-in-chief's office, and there must be 6 or 8 names on it. And it's kind of cute because at that time, though I'm sure very, very stressful for everybody involved, Marvel's editor-in-chief position was pretty much a revolving door. They had people that weren't staying there for very long. And all names that I'm sure you recognize. But love this. George Perez's run on that book, just incredible to look at. Number 9, Fantastic Four 200, the end of a great storyline. These all seem to be conclusion issues I have up here. Another great Kirby cover. This was a story where the Fantastic Four broke up, and it was about a year before their 200th issue. So as you can imagine, lo and behold, by the 200th issue, they're back together. Slam down or knockdown, drag out fight between Reed Richards and Dr. Doom. It's just as brutal as they've ever fought. It reminds me of the Thing Dr. Doom battle from around Fantastic Four 40, where he just tears him up. And the individual issues as part of that storyline dealt with the individual FF members, all leading up, each getting their own solo 1 or 2 issue spots here and there, leading up to that big 200th issue. Number 8, Fantastic Four 245, another John Byrne issue, great Sue Richards cover, where she's, obviously she's pretty beat up. We don't know. Actually, the title down in the corner kind of gives a hint, gives it away. Don't want to spoil too much about this book, but it's a great one and done. It starts in medias res. You're trying to figure out what's happening in this story, and she fights alone, and it ties into our number 1 on the countdown here as well. But it's just a really, really good one-off story. Speaking of really, really good one-off stories, in the current run Ryan North is doing, this is one of the more recent ones you'll see with any of my stuff, Fantastic Four book 19. It doesn't have a legacy number on it. Doesn't say it's a variant cover, but obviously Sue Storm is looking fantastic. It's a great film noir storyline. You can kind of tell that the cover kind of alludes to that it's film noir detective storyline. And what's great about it is you're trying to figure out what's going on, very much like the last issue we talked about. But and that it's not just at first the conceit seems to be they're just telling the story in this style of film noir, so that but no, it's actually the whole world is at risk, as is often the case with Fantastic Four. It's a great book. You should pick it up if you don't have it already. Next up at number 6 is Fantastic Four 259. This is in the middle of this storyline. I think it wraps up in 260, but it's another trilogy. I think Dr. Doom is stealing the Silver Surfer's power again. Honestly, looking at the cover, maybe it was Terrax. I haven't read this book in a while, but I just love, I believe Silver Surfer's in it. Terrax, Dr. Doom going against 3 of our Fantastic Four. And it's just the amount of power involved. It's a very street level kind of story. They're in a parking lot, and fighting around a supermarket. It just, the idea, very much like Kirby and Lee did back in the day, they're putting real people around these events so you feel for them. And just I've loved this cover, and just that little storyline is great, leading up to the trial of Reed Richards, I think. Next up at number 4. Interesting that it's number 4 because the cover says, and then there was one. This is, and I thought I had a different cover for this one. Hang on. Bear with me. Yes, sorry. Same storyline, different cover. The Fantastic Four number 12, Marv Wolfman created the Nova series, Richard Rider Nova. And it was just a great book, and there was a bit of a interstellar component to it near the end, And he wrapped up that storyline in Fantastic Four, which he was writing at the time. Walt Simonson did this cover. You'll notice here we've got Galactus fighting the Sphinx. So again, we're putting Galactus up against somebody his size. The aging Fantastic Four in the foreground. What I really loved about this storyline, besides the fact it was wrapping up what was going on in Nova, is you've got this incredible battle with Galactus and the Sphinx. And during the whole Nova run, the Sphinx, as Nova's primary villain, was always talking about destiny and doesn't want to repeat his past, and he's trying to stop his inevitable fate, kind of thing. And this story, the issue after this, is part of that storyline. Resolves that, which is unusual in comics. So Sphinx gets a bit of revolution there. Number 4. Oh, okay, my mistake. That was number 5. Number 4 is another issue, another run right after that Impossible Man story. This is the Fantastic Four against the Frightful Four. You'll notice the Brute up there in the corner. Well, who is the Brute, you ask? Well, the Brute is the Reed Richards from Counter-Earth. So, I mentioned Counter-Earth that High Evolutionary created. A lot of our heroes had counterparts there, some didn't, but there was often a little difference to it. And I think Doctor Doom was one of the ones that showed up in Warlock's original series from Counter-Earth. But the Brute here is Reed Richards, and he can turn into the Brute, very much like Banner turns into the Hulk. This was where they had tryouts for the Frightful Four, who should really just be the Frightful Three, because 3 of them are all that usually ever show up. What was really creepy about that storyline, though, is just how evil, I can't even say how evil that Reed Richards is, and it makes for a really harrowing story. Number 3, I mentioned John Byrne earlier. This is another one, John Byrne. I'm going to give you a super hot take. This is my favorite Galactus trilogy, not the Lee Kirby one. I think John Byrne just nailed it with this Fantastic Four story with Galactus coming to Earth, where we've got Frankie Ray, all these heroes on the cover taking down Galactus in a big battle. I'm hoping we're going to see at least some parts of this in the movie in terms of some physicality in regards to Galactus, which we haven't always gotten. But just love this at number 3. That storyline is my number 3. We're getting close. Number 2, Fantastic Four 51. This monster. This is probably one of my favorite comic books of all time. It's just an incredible story. The antagonist, the unnamed antagonist in the storyline, it's got one of the best splash pages of all time with Ben Grimm out in the rain. Kirby just doing that rain thing, and that first page is just incredible. It's just the mood setting is just unreal. But yeah, this monster, easily my number 2 Fantastic Four story. And then at number 1, because it holds a special place in my heart, Fantastic Four 141. As you can see here on the cover, poor little Franklin, yes, he had brown hair originally, is glowing like an atomic bomb. What are we going to do? Could this be the end of the Fantastic Four? This could be the end of the Fantastic Four. We're talking about redoing storylines. That story leading up to 200 was a little like this, in that they broke up and then did individual stories. There were a number of individual stories after this one before the FF got back together. But I just love this book. I got it off the stands as a kid. It's the second part of a 2-parter with Annihilus. And it's, just the fact that Reed, and I'm going to do a whole video about this because it was pretty interesting as a kid. Franklin's glowing like an atomic bomb. He really didn't have powers at this point. He was just doing some weird stuff. People were thinking, oh, maybe he's got powers, but he was about to explode and could potentially destroy the world, if not the universe. And so Reed literally, with a big giant ray gun, because who doesn't have one of those lying around, in their lab, he shuts down Franklin's mind, turns him into a vegetable. And as a kid, I was struck by that, but not struck in a harmful way. I was struck like, wow, this is amazing. I have got to find out what happens next. And how cool is it that this is what happens in Marvel Comics? This book is probably as important as anything, or this story as anything else for my love of Marvel Comics. I love DC too, but Marvel really got to me with stories like that one. So that's it for my top 10. Would love for you to subscribe to the channel, hit notifications. Please leave me comments below. Would love to hear what Fantastic Four storylines you love, what's your thought on my list. And until I see you again, please keep reading comics, keep going to see movies, and be kind to each other.